Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We've got an unbelievable show for you. For 1 hour, we are going to give you real estate and mortgage talk. To my right, Mr. Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Harvey. Good morning, everybody out there. Hey, lovely weekend. You know, when it rains, as Becky's going to tell you in the upcoming segment, when it rains, that's the perfect time to go check out a house, right? I mean, it shows all the flaws. Everybody's in there. Maybe there's some leaks. Maybe there aren't. Sherry Gramlich here from eXp Realty. When it rains, it exposes a lot of things, everybody.
I'll introduce the panel. Becky Alley over there across the way. Hey, Becky, top 1% of all mortgage originators in the United States. Scotsman Guide. You know, she's one of those big-time girls. Hey, Becky.
Yay! Happy Saturday on this sleepy Saturday. So wake up, get out there if you are going to be at an open house like Harry was alluding to. Today is a great day to go house shopping because you know what? It's going to creep out through the cracks. For sure.
Right.
Who's this lady you bring in here, Becky? Who's this Sherry Gramlich lady?
I can't say enough amazing things about this woman that is to my right. She is one of the highest caliber people that I know as a person, as a real estate agent. I am privileged enough to work with her daily between herself, how she mentors her team. She is literally the walking, talking epitome of what you want in a real estate agent. We got Miss Sherry Gramlich, and thank you for serving our country.
Hey, Becky and Harry, thank you so much for having me there today.
Well, great. Hey, Sherry, you know, again, Becky mentions, of course, you were in the military, and we do a lot of VA loans still. It's a lot of the veterans out there getting their due. They've already served. They're able to purchase zero down. So we'll talk about it, getting into the houses in today's tough marketplace. And we hope more and more families out there and listing agents would recognize that it doesn't matter what the name of the mortgage is. If you've got qualified people, if they've already been approved and they've been vetted, they've already gone through this process of really being approved, they can close a VA transaction, an FA transaction, Becky. We close those in less than 30 days all the time.
Yeah, money is money, and I'm actually really glad that you kind of jump right into it because there was a moment, like just recently, where I feel like that VA stigma was happening, where the inexperienced real estate agents, and this is no shade on anybody, but sometimes conventional is not always best, right? Sometimes it's what truly is best for your seller is the best offer, and money is money. That's Harry's favorite thing to say is
God, I
money
love
is
that
money,
so
whether
much.
it's FHA, VA, conventional, MIJDA, whatever it is. But, a veteran, their down payment was paid through our country, with the service to our country.
When they served, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And even other realtors, they need to know, too, how to say and how to represent our veterans and say, hey, they have zero down for a reason. You can't just look at what they're putting down. They have zero down because they served our country.
For sure.
That's when their down payment was made.
Yep. And I feel like some people think that, the conversations that I have is if they are looking at a VA offer or even an FHA offer, they'll say, well, it's strict. There's more things that go into the appraisal. And the reality is that who would want to buy a house that has health and safety concerns? And the reality is that, yes, they are going to flag you for a missing handrail. So what? They are going to hit you for some chipping paint, but it doesn't matter what your financing is, whether it's FHA or conventional. Health and safety is health and safety. So if there is mold in the home or something like that, that is going to get flagged regardless of what your finance options are. And then with VA, if you're going to have a short appraisal, there's so many benefits with VA. We could literally talk this whole hour about it, but you can even do Tidewater. So if the value comes in a little bit low, VA will say, hey, agents, we're looking at a little bit of a short on this appraisal. What are the comps that you use? They announce it so that when everyone has an ability to do a rebuttal before it's even in our possession.
Yeah, there are so many ways I can go with this conversation. Yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And we like to say money's money. What does the community, what do real estate agents, what do sellers, why do they care where lenders ultimately end up getting the money from? We lend our own money, right? But then when we package loans and we sell them off in the secondary market, I mean, that's another crazy thing that we got to talk about. We can't talk about that.
That's above my pay grade.
So we get money, and where we decide to fund the money from, money's green. So we say in our office all the time, money's money. Don't, reward of that for serving the country. That's why they get a zero down program. That's why they get the preferred rate.
Yes.
That's why they get a max on their closing costs, okay? Because they've earned it. So people out there, if you're going to sell a house and you see a VA loan out there, don't get hung up. It's zero down VA. What do you care where the money comes from? Money is money. And then I can get into discussion. I mean, Harvey, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to play your role today. Maybe I'm not. I get all jacked up about it. Maybe there's just too many real estate agents and too many loan officers in the business right now, fighting for too little deals, so they're muddying up the waters. I don't know. Money's money. VA, FHA, MISTA, Chenoa, any kind of program that we have to offer, what do you care where we get the money from?
It's still green.
It's still green. Forget about it.
And it's closing the transaction. However we get there, however bumpy the road might be, we are literally going to pull and throw everyone over to the finish line to make sure that everyone is happy.
So one of the reasons why I love working with you, Becky, and there's so many, but one of the reasons is with VA and FHA, the seller or the buyers can assume those repairs still. And there's a lot of people and a lot of lenders that are too lazy to work with it.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree with that. It's nothing to do with me, but you see it all the time, and I know, Harvey, you do too. Sometimes it takes an extra 10 minutes looking at a transaction that is going to get everyone the results that they're looking for. And we're not afraid of difficult transactions. Sometimes too many difficult transactions fall into my lap. And because I have that reputation of pushing things through, because everyone knows I'm not here to take the easy road sometimes. It's all about the end result for our referral partners, for the buyers and the sellers.
Look, with the lack of homes out there and families want a top dollar for selling their house, so they're going to get it on the marketplace. That listing agent, they want to get you top dollar, but they got to have, we talked about it last week, they got to have the guts, really the tenacity to say to the seller, look, let's clean this up a little bit. Let's make this house the best possible product that we can sell to somebody. And again, we talk about these repairs. And also VA, let's just throw it out there, allows up to 4% seller's concession. FHA allows up to, Federal Housing Administration allows up to 6% seller's concession. If you get smarter people involved and put the deals together, we'll have more happy families. Again, we're building communities across Southeast Michigan. That's our goal, is to really build these strong neighborhoods, strong communities, and put, nothing better than having great neighbors.
Right, so everybody out there, for what Harvey just said, he talked mortgagees, okay? I mean, that's kind of language that maybe you understand, maybe you don't understand. The bottom line is that you have to have, and Harvey and I talked about this a little bit in the office earlier in the week, is that everybody wants to downplay experience, okay? So when you hear experience, people think old. No, Experience means, and there's a stat out there, that mortgage loan officers, lenders, and realtors that have been in the business 15 years or longer are the most successful. Okay, why? Been through the wars, all right? You've been through the cycles. You've been through the ups and downs, and right now, it's a tough market for buyers. They need experienced people out there to win that transaction. And if you don't have somebody that's been in the business a long time or been through the cycles, listen, I'm not downplaying, or as Becky would like to say, throwing shade at somebody, but I am. If you haven't been around the block, how do you know how to navigate that neighborhood?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know how to navigate? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that right now, tough times, tough market for buyers dictate that you have somebody that's been through that before. And we said it on our podcast earlier in the week, 10, 15 offers and people aren't getting homes. So you need somebody on your side that's going to help you. You need that team, Becky.
So, okay, I actually have a real life situation. I just got a purchase agreement sent over to me. This was already a transaction that's been going on for 30 days. So now I'm stepping in as the second lender. Fine. This is a conventional deal with repairs. Okay, so again, conventional offers will be subject to repairs depending on the disarray of the home. So I asked them to send me this appraisal before we get into it. The other mortgage lender will not touch it. So I'm looking at it, and it's really not that bad. And so I have a good relationship with the listing agent. I know the buyer's agent, so I'm stepping in. But I'm, kind of pulling everyone together. But I identified, okay, these are the things that the seller, are you willing to fix these things in advance? Because this is going to be an issue on any appraisal with any lender, right? It's not just a capital mortgage funding thing or any other lender, right? It's sometimes, appraisers out there, they have a duty to identify as the investor, what is wrong with this property, depending on what it is, right? So we identified it. I talked to the listing agent. I talked to the buyer's agent. And now now that I'm in the middle, I'm saying, okay, are you comfortable with doing X, Y, Z, fixing these things? Seller, are you willing to meet in the middle as for the lender so we can do these things? And now we have a transaction that we're going to close. So it does take a group effort in making sure that everyone is comfortable, because things are going to happen. But we preach and preach again. Who is on your team matters all day long, because not anyone's going to close that transaction, because if they could, they already wouldn't have closed.
All right. The demand for housing is out of this world. We're going to come back and talk all about it, winning the offer, all the different types of mortgages. Sherry Gramlich joins us here from eXp Realty. If you want to talk to her, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 23rd plus year, coming up on 24 years, giving you hardcore information. What? Yeah, buying a house. There's a lot to know. There's a lot of moving parts, as we say. Purchasing or selling a house. Definitely give us a call, 248-539-9797. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. Of course, we take your calls here live in the studio. 248-539-9797. Always tons to share with you in this jam-packed 1 hour. We talk off the air about all these different things here. You want to get into these sound approval letters, which the truth of the matter, Harry, is that we've taken a client and we've got them prepared. What we're doing nowadays, getting them to prepare to close in less than 30 days. That's the key.
Well, there's so many different ways that you go about approving people, and the dissemination of accurate versus inaccurate information to the realtor and builder community out there. When somebody gives you a letter, it depends. You know, I've seen so many letters, Harvey, and you've had, how many times have you come in my office and say, you're not going to believe this approval letter, right? I mean, you'd say it.
Right.
So what we do, and Sherry, you know, it's a quiz, Sherry, and we didn't talk about it before, and you'll have the answers to the test for me. But the bottom line is, you as a realtor, when you get a pre-approval letter or an approval letter, you look for certain things in that letter, right?
Absolutely.
It has to say certain things in there. It has to say that you've checked the credit. It has to say that you've gone over the financial statements. Do the people have the wherewithal to come to the fund or the closing table with the funds to close? All right. So our letters are pretty clear, pretty concise, and they basically say like this: thank you for choosing Capital Mortgage Funding as your mortgage lender. We have reviewed your credit report and credit score. Credit score is very important. That dictates the rate somebody's going to get. Right?
Yes.
Your credit score. Verified your income. Do you think that's important, that we verified somebody's income?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you kidding me?
And debt.
Right. Verified your funds available for down payment if you're putting money down, and verified, key thing here, your debt to income ratio, right? Based upon the documentation you've provided, you have been approved, not pre-approved, not pre-qualified. You've been approved for a mortgage in the amount of X. Okay? This approval is subject to re-verification of all statements made at the time of issuance. That just means that when we go ahead and we're ready to close the transaction, we're going to verify that you're still employed. You haven't run up your credit cards. You haven't bought a new car, 14 car leases,
can't.
right? Went out to bought the furniture already.
Cannot.
And you're good to go. So it's pretty clear, concise, very succinct, and it says that we have verified everything up front. How many times do you see letters that don't contain that?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
That scares me as a lender. It scares me.
Another one they say is pre-qualified versus pre-approved, right?
Right.
Pre-qualified. They
That's what-
just looked at their income.
They
Right.
probably didn't even do that. They probably took a verbal application, looked at the credit, and said, okay. And that's why they put qualified, because they didn't have any of the tangible
Yeah,
documents.
they
to
haven't
back it up.
verified it.
Yes.
They've just said, hey, I make $80,000 a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody here,
Yes.
we're going on record. Here's the camera. Here's the letter. Ours say approved. They don't say pre-qualified or pre-approved. Ours says approved. That's it. There's a huge, and it, listen, it's just not semantics. It's real. All right. When it says approved versus pre-qualified or pre-approved, there's a huge difference in our community.
And there's times where sometimes a pre-approval, for me to hand out a pre-approval, I might take 7 days. I've even taken 30 days to give someone a bona fide pre-approval because we weren't there.
Yep.
And how did I know they weren't there? Because I took the time to identify the information, because I can't have my people running around with my agents spending 30 days in the car, 6 months in the car, looking for houses, and then they finally find one, only to find out now that you're in the meat and potatoes of it that they really were never qualified. And it's really a shame, because there's too much of that going on, and we say this time and time again because we get the calls, we see it, and if there's such that, like, you see these things online, oh, pre-approved in 1 hour, like, who cares if you really didn't take the time to really look at the information?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
because
it
social media
affects-
is not real life.
It affects every one of us.
Yeah.
It affects your reputation. It affects my reputation. When we're out there presenting to, other agents and we're saying they're pre-approved, they dang sure better be pre-approved, because nobody wants a deal to go sideways. It's going to affect the seller. It's going to affect you guys, it's going to affect us. It's going to affect the buyer. It's everybody.
Always the domino effect, Sherry, because sure enough, if you can't close on that date now, that puts maybe another closing behind. And again, you got to get these things done in a timely fashion. Look, the buyers want, and the millennials specifically want to work with people that use the greatest in technology. They streamline things. They make it easy for you. Younger buyers are saying that they highly appreciate working with the best. It's
Absolutely.
no doubt. And why? Because you got the negotiation skills. Here we talked about experience, negotiation skills, relationships, market knowledge offered by the top real estate agents out there. That's who I want to work with if I'm buying my first or second house.
Absolutely. I just took a girl out last weekend, first time, Sarah.
Okay. Yep.
And first time we went out and we were able to get her house. We made an offer and it was accepted.
Yes. Okay. So to this point, okay. So this is why I speak so highly of Sherry's, because you have some agents that can, it depends on the situation, right? Everything's situational, but she has such a good reputation out on the streets that she literally can write offers and get them accepted first time out. There's not very many real estate agents out there that can do that. Now, I'm not saying that people can't, because there's a lot of really good real estate professionals out there. There's also a lot of really good mortgage lenders out there, but you first time out, literally pre-approving her, down payment assistance, boom, approved, accepted. And part of that is a reputation. And you can't get where you're going by putting throwing things at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. You have to mean what you say what you mean, and back it up with affirmative action.
Well, it's kind of like this, everybody. If it's a limited market, a limited supply, and you have a qualified buyer that's being presented by a realtor who's a name brand in that area, that's kind of the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you're going to have that. So if you have, and it happens, if you have 3, 4, 5 approvals and they're all coming in, then they're going to go with the one. Both agents will say, hey, listen, I've had a lot of experience with this agent. She brings it to the table. It's been around a long time, and I feel very secure in presenting this offer to my seller. That's how it really works.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the jargon that goes on. That's not real estate ease. That's what happens. You got 4 offers. 3 of them are presented by 3 different people. The 4th one's presented by somebody with a gold name, a gold standard, a Sherry Gramlich, whomever it is. Boom, let's go with this one. Yep. And by the way, most likely it's going to be highest and best. Most likely it's going to have something in there because Sherry, that realtor, is going to go ahead and understand that that's what it takes to get the deal done.
Yeah. So let's kind of like what I want to talk about, and like with Sherry to bring it in a little bit is, okay, so now we're talking about the things, things can go wrong, things can go sideways, but it's about how you can react to those things. So how in this market with the buyers that are feeling frustrated, right? This is not as crazy it was in 2020, 21, right? You can still get concessions and things like that, but lack of inventory is still there. So what are you saying to your buyers right off the rip that are going to set them up for success in this kind of market, that you are feeling that you're able to get the first one out the gate, we're getting an accepted offer?
It's really about education. Right out of the gate, when I'm starting to work with my clients, I'm telling them, this is what you can expect. I get in there and tell them, you may not get that first offer accepted. These are the things you want to look for. These are the things that you want to see in a house. I try to educate them in the house, and I tell them, if it's pristine, be prepared to do multiple offers. Be prepared to pay a little bit over asking, and be prepared to compete. So I talk to them about appraisal guarantees, and I talk to them about all the different things that they can do to make their offer stand apart. Escalation clauses or whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm. And that's key because you're setting that expectation. And what I love about with working with you is you'll hear some real estate agents saying, oh, well, I had to let my buyer lose one. So now they know that it's what I'm saying is true, right? And you don't follow that rule because you don't have to. They really, between the work that we do up front with the buyers, the education piece, setting that expectation, you don't have to lose 3 offers before you finally start listening to your real estate professional, because you're in line with them for a reason. There's a reason why they are doing this every day, all day, because you have the relationships and you know what to look out for. But setting the expectation is absolutely key.
Absolutely.
We had last week, I got a call on a Sunday and I was hustling. It was 2 Sundays ago, and sure enough, a good real estate agent refers to some business, and she's going to show a family a 275 house, and it was a lead, one of those companies online, and it's a lead. And I said, how are you sending them? How are you going to go to the house if they're not even approved? She said, well, we have to show them the first house. Otherwise, they won't send us these leads and this and that. So this young family goes, and they've got 4 kids, and they look at a 275 house. So anyways, the first question I asked him was, hey, I want to get you all set up here. It's Sunday. We've got to get a lot of paperwork. So if you want to make an offer. And the first question I asked was, how much money are you working with? And the answer was zero. And he's not a veteran and he doesn't qualify for zero zone. So pretty interesting. When people are clicking buttons out there, we have to sort of get you off of that because those families are not having success. They're striking out because they're not getting prepared. They're just clicking a button and clicking a button. They're dealing with strangers. They're dealing with inexperienced agents. And if you don't have the money to close, you're wasting a whole lot of people's time. Worse than that, Harry,
Yeah, I
if
love
they get
that
It's
you
frustrating. It's frustrating out there. The market is frustrating right now. So if you're one of those families, those couples, singles, whomever you are, going out there looking for houses, and you've put in 4, 5, 6 offers, you can't quit. Because, see, as soon as you quit and you get out of the market for a couple weeks or a month, you're behind the 8 ball because there are 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 people came in right behind you that aren't going to quit. The ones that aren't quitting are the ones that are getting it. Talked about it on the podcast again, real life examples. 10, 12 offers before they had one accepted on their 13th, one on their 19th. All right, so if you get out of the market, chances are what are you going to try to jump back in? Prices are going to be higher. Rates are going to be higher. You heard it here. Now, I'd love for you to challenge me and come back to me in 4 months and say, well, Harry, you said 4 months ago the rates are lower. Beautiful. Then we all win.
Right.
But right now, they're going up and prices of homes are going up because we say it all the time, math, supply and demand, do the math. Less houses, higher prices.
Well, you can't go against the real estate champ anyway. I mean, there's like history shows that real estate at the end of the day wins. It's been an appreciating asset. It's a long-term game. And you're going to see that as you're going out here, you're making these offers, you can't get out of it. And when we come back, I want to talk about how we can set people up to beat that, right? Don't get fatigued. Don't strike out, how we can help you win.
All righty, mortgage costs, home prices, they're not going down. 248-539-9797. We come back. More real estate and mortgage talk. Keep it here. Alrighty, welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Would you believe it? It's July 15th, Harry. This summer is flying by.
Middle of the summer, hot out, crazy real estate going on. People are out there in the masses, Harvey.
And we're going to have a gorgeous day tomorrow here, so hang on there. Your weekend plans are completely not kaputs there. I love Metro Detroit. We're going to get into a little Metro Detroit fun stuff here because everyone, the rage is always, looking at the best hamburger, the best pizza. I'm on a little pizza tour with a buddy of mine, and a little shout out to Louis over there in Hazel Park last night. We did it. We made the track over there, and it was fun and exciting. Old school pizza place, and I just love that vibe. Good old Detroit vibe here. You know, I'm a Detroiter. When I'm out in Vegas or whatever, hey, where are you from? Wherever I'm at, I'm a Detroiter. If you're from Metro Detroit, and just a good vibe here. We still got a lot of great things going on here. Woodward Dream Cruise coming up in August. Tiger baseball later today. So there's just so much to talk about. So, Sherry, we're going to do a little of that too here. Let's go to our caller. We do have a quick question here about real estate. Hey, Tom, thanks for calling in. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And
Morning.
Good morning, Sherry.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
We know who you are, Tom.
It's great. How are you?
Good.
You can buy her a drink
Well-
later, Tom. We know who you are. Go ahead, though. We want to hear from you.
No problem. I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Sherry. She is everything that's been said about her. She's very passionate and she's professional. She takes extreme interest and pride in what she does, and she puts her customers first. So I've known Sherry probably for more years than I'd rather say at this moment because she's young, but she does a great job, and I appreciate you guys having this forum to explain the mortgage industry to potential buyers, clients, and you guys do a great job with your shows.
Cheers.
Thanks,
Cheers to
Tom.
you, Tom. Tom's a mortgage broker or a banker. I'm not sure exactly where you work, Tom, but cheers to you, Tom, for recognizing what we're trying to do here is just shine light to help more and more families be successful homeowners. And cheers to you, Tom, and I appreciate that call for sure. You want to join in on that?
No,
Beth?
I appreciate your calling in, and you're absolutely right. Sherry is of the highest caliber, like we talk about, and we definitely appreciate your call because getting a mortgage is a big deal. It's not glamorous. You know, you see a lot of things online that talk about like, oh, happy closing, but there's a lot that goes in between, and there's a lot of things that can go sideways, but it's how you get to the finish line, right? So sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And obviously, anytime we can set anyone up for success, but you got to keep everyone together. So thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, good stuff, Tom. Appreciate you, man. All right, we let Tom go there, but yeah, anyone out there is a professional in the industry. See, Tom's a professional. He has no problem. He works for another lender, obviously. No problem.
And he's calling in.
And just to salute and say, hey, guys, you're doing some good things here again. And that's what we're trying to do. 248-539-9797. Here a lot of competition for these homes. The millennials have gone about things a little bit differently. We're recognizing that they've lived at home a little bit longer. They're starting their families a little bit longer. But when they dive into a house, they're not going for those starter homes or whatever's a starter home anymore. They're jumping right into it. Head first, they're going, looking at the 300s plus here. It's hard to get those offers accepted.
Yeah, but the fundamentals are always the same. Whether you bought a house in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, and now 20s, the fundamentals are the same. All right, everybody's all excited. They're all emotional. They want to buy it, whether it's their first house, a trade-up house, or they're moving down. Doesn't matter. It's a very emotional transaction. It doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it is. It's only complicated if you're not getting everything up front. If somebody hasn't been transparent with you, we're going to find out. All right?
Yeah.
There's definitely things
There's
in
no
place.
hiding.
There's no hiding.
So you've got to be
Yeah.
upfront. You've got to be transparent. So when we ask you for some information, we just please comply and get us the information, because if you don't, the longer it takes, it's going to come out at the end. And you don't want to add time at the end. You want to do everything up front so it cuts time off and prevents those hassles at the end.
A gazillion percent. That's a real word or number, gazillion percent. Because the reality is that there is not one piece of paper that I'm going to ask you for that I'm just going to ask for it. I don't need more paper on my desk. I don't need more on my computer. I don't need more to look at. So you have to understand that if we're asking for something, it's because we genuinely need it. So I understand that, like when you're living your life and you want to buy a car in between and you want to go on vacation in between, because I feel like getting a house and going on vacation always butt right next to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just one of those things. But the reality is, if we need an updated pay stub, there's a reason for it, because all of this is put in place to make sure that we have properly qualified buyers. And in the event that there is an audit done on our file, we have to make sure that someone can open up the book of your mortgage process and know that we did our due diligence from start to finish. And because we are so thorough, there's a reason why we're a top lender within the nation.
And that's why Tom calls in and says, hey, love the show, because every lender needs the same thing. Okay, there's no magic wand.
Absolutely.
Every lender needs the same thing. So the quicker you can get it to your lender, the one that you trust the most, all right, fine, just do it. When they ask you for something, just take care of it. So you're not chasing for it. So Sherry's waiting. She set a closing date, right? She's expecting it to close. She calls up and says, hey, are we closing? And now you understand our feet are running under the water like we're paddling really heavy. But outside we're calm. We say, yeah, sure, it's going to close. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Every lender does that because we need the information. So just get it so Sherry can close her
And everyone
deals.
knows that, like, if I'm on a transact, I'm running 1,000 miles an hour trying to hit a target going 1,000,000 miles an hour. But as I'm running, I'm picking up things as I need to make sure that we are doing simultaneous things behind the scenes to make sure we can close as quickly as possible.
And it'll get done. They all close. Harvey loves when I say it. All loans close.
All good loans close.
All good loans close.
All right, we're
it
trying to
always happens.
We don't want to scare
Absolutely.
all these buyers away, Sherry. They've already stockpiled all this cash, right? They're getting ready to get their offer accepted.
They're all nervous as heck.
They got inspection fees. They got a mortgage payment coming. They got moving costs, repairs, other household responsibilities require some money. So there's a lot going on here. And we see families even using their 401ks because, Sherry, you mentioned it. You might need to learn a little bit about this marketplace, because if you make an offer, what does $10 or $15 or $20,000 mean if it sits in your 401k? Maybe you can buy that house by going just a little bit over asking. We're seeing that again. Supply and demand has dictated this new way of purchasing a house in Southeast Michigan. Some houses can go right at the asking price, but if you have an extra 10, 15 or 20,000, that's that extra money, Becky. You're going to need to get that offer accepted.
The biggest thing, and we talk about it, is it's not the payment. People are not afraid of the payment. The interest rate truly doesn't matter. Yes. Would it be better if your interest rate's lower? Yes. Does it affect the amount of house that you're buying a little bit with the payment? Yes, of course. But at the same time, we are constantly qualifying people based off of what they can qualify and their payment right now. People can afford the monthly payments because they're paying ungodly amounts in rent and whatever they're doing, or whether they're step up or downgrading, right sizing, we'll call it. The biggest issue is the funds for closing.
Cash out of pocket.
Yep, it's always. And there's a big issue right now where people have money in their rafters because of the banking institutions. People are sensitive about banking stuff. So you have to have the conversations, because I have never been to a closing, even if the closing was quote unquote cash. I've never seen someone show up with 2 briefcases with $200,000 in there and popping it open like you see in the movies.
Hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, you
I'm
have to
waiting.
have your funds in the bank. You cannot, the money that's in your rafters or wherever it is, you can't use it. So you need to have the conversations on how to get the money into the bank if you don't have it there. So 401k. Do you qualify for down payment assistance? Do you have someone that can gift you this money to help you get to where you're going? But all of this has to start with the conversations up front. Do yourself a favor and have the conversations. Even if you're 12 months out, Sherry, would you not disagree?
You're absolutely correct. And everybody has to trust the process. You know, they got to trust the people that they've chosen to work with. And you have to trust the process. And understand there's a process with the title company, a process with the lender, and a process with the realtor. And we all work together as a team with the buyer, with the sellers, and we get it done.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the frustrations that you find too is like there's like buyers. So if you're under contract, I have one right now where the PA date is coming up and they're really stressing out about, we're going to close on this time. Now, everyone is fine with extending it. There's some things happening that have nothing to do with the buyer. There's like the seller has some city repairs that they have to complete. So now we're going to have to extend it. The buyer's in shambles because they went ahead and they scheduled movers and things like that. Well, I didn't know till we're saying, hey, we're probably gonna have to extend it. And that talking that down, that the contract date, yes, that is something that we are all targeting, but it's arbitrary. Depending on what's going on, as long as everyone's on the same team, that can get pushed out. That's totally okay.
I'd love a realtor to call right now and say, what do you mean arbitrary? It's written. It's got to be done. It's written. It's written. It's written.
Yeah.
So my question is this, Harvey. It's like, what happens? You turn into a pumpkin. If it doesn't close Wednesday at 10 o'clock, you turn into a pumpkin. What if it closes Wednesday at 11 o'clock? What if it closed Thursday? What if it closed Friday? I mean, come on, everybody. Let's go.
It all works out.
All good loans close.
Yeah, you
All
gotta
good
take
loans
Yeah, and we're
Well,
all
done.
about
that.
closing on time. But the thing
yeah.
is like the point that I'm making is that things happen. It's not always the lender's fault. There's things that happen, but what matters is how you're working together as a team, reaching across the aisles, the proper communication.
All right, we talk about city certs there. We got some
Yeah.
cities here locally and across the United States that have city certs. So the city's going to come out to the property and they're going to say, wait a minute here, we got some. This is our opportunity. And the cities are smart. It's their opportunity to get that the sidewalk fixed. That's the seller's responsibility. It's been all torn up. That tree's 100 feet in the air. The roots have already jacked it up now. The kids
Yeah,
can't
even
skateboard.
that storm yesterday was like all
Right?
flooded downriver.
Right. Things happen. Again, city certs are involved in transactions. It could take you a few extra weeks. Getting prepared if you're a seller, getting prepared if you're a buyer, because that's the key, Sherry. We're seeing these, we talked about it, they're doing the pass-fail inspection. So now you've got the city who's going to dive into the house a little bit more and say, wait a minute here, we checked on some things. These things might need to be fixed.
Right. Absolutely. Happens all the time.
Yeah. So even like that one transaction I brought up quickly, there was a conventional, they're talking about some repairs. The repairs came from, I mean, you could visibly see them, but some of them came from the fact that it was the city of Romulus. They had their own city inspection, and the appraiser called the city and got a hold of what the city was requiring for the C of O. So therefore, he repeated some of those things. He cited them in the appraisal report. Now, this isn't our appraisal report. This was another lender's appraisal report. So it's, the appraisers are going to go out there. They're going to reach out because, they might not require certain repairs. The lender might not require certain repairs, but you can't close because the city particular might require certain repairs that the seller's responsible for.
All right. Successful home ownership is what we're bringing you. 248-539-9797. We'd like to hear from you. Sherry Gramlich joins us from eXp Realty. If you've got a story about buying or selling a house, or you're thinking about buying or selling your home, definitely give us a call. 248-539-9797. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the show. In our last segment, 944, if you're just joining us, We take all your calls. Of course, you can call us at Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Let's do a little bit of mortgage talk here. Yes, Harry, people got those summer tax bills on July 1st, and it's been a struggle out there with the cost of goods, and groceries have gone up, and it's been a little tough out there for a lot of families. And some of the families out there might need to do a debt consolidation loan. But we got to talk about smart way to do a debt consolidation loan is to get the numbers all down. Becky, we're running credit reports. We're talking about their future plans. Debt consolidation, refinancing your loan, again, rates are a little higher now than you might have, but ultimately, will it save you money? You need to take a look at these numbers.
I actually have a couple of cash out refinances right now for the situation. And again, it's situational. What makes sense? All that. And the reality is that this person, I'm saving them $1,000 a month, regardless of the rate. Because if you're paying 20% on your credit card, it makes sense to do a cash out refinance if you are going to be saving $1,000 a month.
Rates don't matter for saving money.
For sure.
It's
If
only
you are-
about saving money.
Yes. I mean, so like you got to have the conversation, see what makes sense, because we're not afraid to say no. We're not afraid to talk it out. It's ultimately going to be your decision. And we're here to kind of just be the backseat driver that talks a lot.
Yeah, I have seen some people out there, you'll call us for debt consolidation. Hey, slow down there, cowboy. You've already jammed people up in your last life. Don't act like you're going to help someone now. Hey, let's go to our call here. 248-539-9797 here live in the studio. We've got Dan calling in. Dan, I love your question. Lower your other radio, though, sir. There you go. Dan, can you hear us?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I can. Yeah, thank you. So I live, it doesn't matter where I live, but
You're good.
have a neighbor whose fence is dilapidated, like, more than half of it is actually on the ground.
Right.
You can see
I'm
into
chuckling. I'm
you can
chuckling,
see into
Dan,
the
not in a bad
backyard, and the grass is
Oh,
super
boy.
high.
Oh, yeah.
So I worry I'm not going to get the value for what my house is actually worth because of it. I'm on a corner. It's on the adjacent corner across the side street.
Have you had the friendly
So-
neighbor conversation with the guy? Have you said, "Hey, neighbor, I
Get
love
your
it"?
life together?
No one has occupied it in a couple years. So,
Okay. Well,
but some people come by every now and then and like take mail in or do something. But
I'd be calling the city on it, saying, what's going on here? What are we
Well,
doing?
I did.
if you
What they
call the
said.
city and, listen, I don't know. You've got to have somebody from the city go ahead and take it and move it, because if you do it, you could run into some liability there. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on the radio,
there's
but
9 bench warrants out for the owner, I was told. So I don't, and they're allegedly in California. So
well, I don't know. Let me say this. I don't know that. Obviously, you don't want that blight next to you. You got to have somebody go ahead. You have to have a city or the governmental agency there in that jurisdiction go ahead and do something with that property, because you just can't have a dilapidated property next to you. I mean, if it's just the fence, then somebody can move it or pick it up or get rid of it or something
And if
like
it's
that.
adjoining, you may even want to
Yeah.
just invest a little money and put something
it's not
inexpensive up.
adjoining, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would just. It's across the side street. I'm on a corner. I thought about contacting like my local politician
Yeah.
and talk. I don't know if they would even care, but
So
Call
it's
the
across
mayor.
the street from you?
yeah,
Okay, so you're just like
it's
staring at Freddy Krueger's
I'm on
house,
the
it
same
sounds
side
like.
of the.
Well, there's a
Yeah, I'm on a corner. It's on the corner on like the same we're both on the east side of the road, and
there's a building
there's a
department in
side
your
street between
city. Call the building department in your city. Have them take care
I
of it.
did.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah,
So is your
they're-
house listed currently? Like, are you trying to actively sell your
No,
house? Okay.
I probably would if this fence wasn't,
Okay, so Sherry, I'm going to
issue,
kick it to
so.
you. So what do you say? Like, so in a situation like this, let's just say you're at this listing appointment with this gentleman. How do you handle that when you're looking across the street and you feel like you're looking at Freddy Krueger's house and you think that it might affect, some feedback that you get on that listing or when people are coming to that open house? How do you go about handling something like that? It's unique.
Absolutely. So don't let it sway you from not listing. Number one. Number two, I would definitely get with the building department, talk to them, and have them come out. Have them take a look at
I
it
did.
and see what they can get
Well,
rid
what
of.
do they say to you? I mean, you're a taxpayer in that community. They've got to come out if one of
Yeah.
their constituents.
What do they
has a
say?
complaint.
I have the opportunity to work from home on Fridays, and I happened to see the lady from the code
Yeah,
inspection or whatever.
Code enforcement,
department in
law
the city.
enforcement, right?
Yeah, so I went out there and talked to her, and she's like, "Get their license plate if you can." So I did, and I left a voicemail with that to the city, and just no action has been taken. I think my city might be different than some other cities when it
Don't
comes
say
to
it.
that.
Yeah, they got you out there being
Don't say
Columbo.
it. Hey, Dan,
Yeah,
there's too much.
so-
We don't want to lose you on this call. We all have too many questions for you. Let me ask you a couple other things. When did you buy this house, and did it look like that when you bought it?
No, 2020. Had it looked like that, I wouldn't even
so that
have
was
gone inside. I would have
Wow.
driven away and been like, "See you later." So that's my concern.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Okay, so I have some ideas that we could probably talk about off air,
Right.
and obviously we'll probably get Sherry involved too because, like I said, she is
Okay.
really good at thinking outside the box, how we can resolve the situation for you. If you are thinking about selling your house, but you're right. No one wants to. Part of the thing we talk about here is drive by at night. What are the neighbors like? You can't pick your family. Sometimes you can't pick your neighbors, right? So I understand that you want to make sure that your neighborhood is shed in the best light. And sometimes when you have renters and things like that, there's some disarray on the properties.
Yeah.
But no one wants to live next to Freddy Krueger because that's
So-
where nightmares are made.
So at the
Right.
Dan's open house, you have like blindfolds we put on all the potential buyers,
Yeah.
and we lie to them. We tell them that we're playing
Yeah.
pig the tail.
Right. You
decorated
can't,
like Halloween, like a
Right.
couple,
and you can't
couple months
take
earlier. Or
yeah, and you
something.
can't take matters in your own hands and have all your boys go out there at midnight and trash the house. You cannot do that. We're not advocating
No, I'm
for that.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Good. All right.
No,
good.
yeah. Obviously, you want to make sure that the neighborhood in whole is always looked at in the best light because it's going to, add to your property value at the end of the day. But you can't. That's not your fault. But I appreciate the fact that you take so much pride in not only your home, but the whole neighborhood's home, and the fact that one person's muddying the water. So we'll give you a call after the show to figure out how we can get that figured out. Help
Otherwise-
you. We'll be
otherwise
Columbo
we-
with you.
I'm
Otherwise-
interested off the air what city it is, so we're going to call you off the air. I'm
Yeah.
interested in what city because chances are we could know somebody there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we might know someone there. Hey,
sure.
Dan, I love the call. We don't want to take you off the air, but we're going to. Otherwise, we're going to start asking you things.
Please, yeah, please do.
Thank you. We'll call
Thank
you
you
after
so
the
much
show.
for the
Shout out to
call.
Lisa
Call.
Lawson. She's my mortgage girl.
There she is. Oh, so now we know he's in Macomb County.
Okay.
That's how we do know that.
No,
No?
not Macomb.
Oh,
Rule that
beau-
out. No.
Beautiful. Okay.
All right,
Good.
we'll let you go. Call you after the show. Thanks, Dan. 248-539-9797. Sherry, we got a real estate agent in here. Yeah, there are some blighty neighborhoods or some blighty homes. Hey, we're putting
yeah.
a new roof on
Every
ours.
wait,
we got to put a roof on ours.
Every neighborhood has them. I don't care where you live. If you go in a neighborhood, there's going to be somebody that's unhappy with somebody's house in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whether they painted it purple, I like purple. Well, they painted it purple. It's Prince's house.
Yeah.
And or they
Prince's
don't.
house.
Or they
don't
got
like
gutters
it.
falling off.
They don't
or-
like it in every neighborhood. So these things happen. And again, we like to bring real life situations in there. I like to live in Prince's neighborhood, though.
I mean, listen, sometimes when doves cry, okay?
I'm not patting myself on the back, but yeah, my neighbor's banged up right now. He's got a bum foot. So I cut his lawn last week, and I saw him. He said, "Hey, Harvey, thanks for cutting my lawn." I said, "No worries. I got you next week, too." So, yeah, I hope it doesn't rain anymore because it's starting to get a little thick. But, yeah, the neighbor who doesn't take care of his property, and when you show up to these homes, yeah, it sort of falls into what your appreciation might look like down the road, Sherry.
Absolutely. It's going to affect how many offers you get on your house, too.
Amen.
Because I've got clients that'll look over fences
Yeah.
to see what the next door neighbor's yard looks like. If your yard looks like Sanford and Son, it's not good.
Hey, now.
I mean, but I mean, but it's real life. I mean, and it's important to look at those things, you know.
Do, 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 do.
You wanna do that?
Yeah.
Do, do, do,
Well,
do,
okay.
do.
So the other thing. So speaking of neighbors and things that are going on, you have a couple open houses right now.
Let's do that.
What are your neighbors like over there, and what's going on? Where are these open house located?
Awesome. So one is at 1412 20th Street in Wyandotte.
Ooh, I like wine.
Very desirable.
Great area. It's a 3-bedroom bungalow, totally refinished. It's beautiful. I think open house on that one is from 12 to 3 today.
Okay.
Nice.
And one of my girls on my team is doing that, Christy Sandy. So go out and say hi to her. We also have an open house on the other side of town. It's in Battle Creek.
I would say that's definitely the other side of town.
Yes. And that's at 501 Avalon Court. And it's actually in Springfield, right outside of Battle Creek. And that house is a beauty. It should be on Better Homes and Gardens.
Wow. All right.
That's cool. A couple winners out there. So lack of inventory out there, but there are plenty of homes on the market.
Absolutely.
Put your needs and
Yeah,
wants
they won't
list
last.
together. Those are
Those
not
houses
going to
won't
last
last.
at all.
They won't last.
They both sound like winners. And if you're interested in any of those properties, be sure to get in touch with us. Well, Sherry, if you can't find Sherry Gramlich, you could call us at Capital Mortgage, 1-800-LOW-RATE. We'll set you up with all the top real estate agents. And a lot of times we feature these listings on our websites and stuff, the Capital Mortgage Funding website. So always check us out for the latest in open houses and stuff because they go quick. Again, multiple bids will be coming on both those homes, Sherry. You'll make your decision. You'll break it down Sunday night or Monday
Probably
morning.
Sunday night, Monday morning.
There you
Yep.
go.
And there's
you-
so many people that I feel like come into open houses that actually sometimes it just draws in. I'm not being nosy, but they're curious, right? So they walk into an open house, and all of a sudden now they are envisioning themselves being a homeowner. They never even had the conversation with a lender or a real estate professional.
Oh, absolutely. I get it all the time. You'll have a sign out and they'll just walk in. I was just in the neighborhood and I wanted to see.
Yeah. And some of these homes could qualify for down payment assistance.
Right.
And that is a really big asset and tool that we offer at Capital Mortgage Funding. There's not one down payment assistance program, whether it's city specific or state specific, that we do not offer. So if you are a first time home buyer and your funds are a little bit depleted, you need to make sure that you reach out to us. And some of these that we have, you do not have to be a first time home buyer. I said a closing last month, they were not a first-time home buyer. They got a grant for over $8,000. That's
right.
a beautiful thing that you can bestow on someone at the time of closing because there's other expenses that come along with moving.
There's even bridge loans that
Yep.
can help with the buying, and that ultimately can help you with navigating the multiple offer situation if you're leaving one home and going to another.
For sure. I actually have a transaction right now where that's how we won the offer, is because we offer bridge loans, and that's how our buyer won that offer, because we didn't have to be truly non-contingent, or we were truly non-contingent while they're buying and selling at the same time, because we're able to step in because we're of that caliber. We are always looking at the best solutions for everybody because it's not cookie cutter.
Always put your team and plan together. Again, Harry mentioned it earlier. Stay in the game. Fight for those homes. Again, there's a little lull out there because some families do check out for vacations. So this time of year gets a little dicey. Or there's a last-minute rush of families that are trying to close in the next 30, 40 days, get the kids ready for September 1st school. And that's also important. So timing of how long these homes have been in the marketplace might give you an opportunity maybe to jump on something that's been either left there for 2 or 3 weeks. And you said it before, Sherry, when the house is pristine, there's multiple offers.
Oh, yeah.
If the house maybe has something that's just not quite right, great. That's an opportunity for you. But now you have to be educated on it. You have to know what it costs to make it right. And now that educational and the team and the knowledge all falls into place.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at houses that may not have a granite countertop, right? You may not have to put that $20,000, $30,000 over. You can buy your own granite countertop.
There you go. You can just buy it.
Novel idea.
Yeah.
We had an offer that didn't get accepted. We found out it had a funky septic system. And again, it was in a lake property in another part of the state. Again, well and septics. There's a lot going on here, folks. If you think you're waiving inspections and stuff, you better have a whole
Don't
lot of
do it.
whole
Yeah.
lot of money
Get
and a whole
the
lot of
water
knowledge.
test. Spend the $150. Get the water test. You have to make sure because once you own that property, you're on the hook. So if you can do the right things, make sure you don't have arsenic in your water. Why would you not do that?
There you do. Do the right thing for your family. Arsenic, lead, other bad things
Yeah.
you could be drinking. All right, that music says we got to go. Sherry Gramlich, eXp Realty. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
serving.
coming in. Thank
Always a little salute to our veterans out there when Sherry shows up. And again, if you fought for the country, you deserve to get a house zeroed down. That goes to the listing agents out there. Accept the VA offer. They're just as strong
Yes.
as any offer out there. There you go. Little salute to all our veterans. All right, we got to go. For Becky Yaley, Harry Glantz, be sure to call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We'll see you next Saturday.